All right. So vulnerability is a risk worth taking. This is a risk, but to have life, you gotta take it, right? We will never truly live until we are vulnerable enough to allow life touch us. Life will not touch you if you're not vulnerable, and you're not going to fully live if you're not vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable enough to allow life touch you. Some time ago, I saw myself crying watching a movie. I said, Akin, what happened to you? I used to work in California, and when I was leaving California, I had some of the girls, my friends in the office were crying. And I said, wow, this is people, they're crying. And not too long ago, I saw myself watching a movie and my eyes were wet, and I love it. It just tells me that I'm becoming more human, right? I'm allowing life to touch me, not to be a weakling, but just to feel life. What's the use of life if life is not touching you? What's the use of living without touching life? I remember sometime in school, my final year in school, for some reason I was having issues sleeping, and I was so tight up, I couldn't sleep, and we had some tests to do. And unless my head is relaxed, I can't read. I'm one that loves to get into the spirit of what I read, and it leads me to be relaxed, And I went into that exam or somehow I was doing my project also. I was mixing the lectures and I was supposed to read towards this test, and I go into that test and I couldn't answer the questions, but what I did in that exam hall is I just softened up. I softened up. I sat there and allowed water to flow down my eyes. Allowed water to flow down my eyes, And my dear late Professor Salami, looked at me and said, Mr. Akinbodunse, any problem? I said, Prof, there's problem. Oh. I was trying to achieve two things that day. One, I don't want Prof to see my script and say, look at this boy. He has not been attending my class. He thinks he knows the subject. Look how he has failed. Because I was missing a lot of lectures because I was doing my project. My project required me to be in the workshop most of the time and kind of clashes with the classes. And I spent more time in the workshop than those classes. So I felt Prof would see my script and say, oh, look at this boy. He thinks he's intelligent. Look at him. And look at what he has written. He has been missing my class. So that's one thing I wanted to achieve with Prof that day. The other reason why I allowed water to flow down my eyes was I wanted to soften up. I needed to sleep, right? I needed to sleep to be able to read, So I had to allow water to flow down my eyes, and that helped me because I was about going to the medical center to get an exemption for the exam. I was going to go there, say, hey, I can't sleep, or I need an exemption for the exam, but that was a turning point for me to do that exam. After the test, I went and told Prof I had problems sleeping. So I solved the issue with Prof. But with me allowing water to flow down my eyes, I went to the pharmacy. I took Valium. I went to buy Valium for the first time in my whole life. Never done that. But I went to buy Valium from the pharmacy. I went to buy milk. I went to the Boca, got beans. For the first time in my whole life then, I went to the room after eating and put on FM radio. I was a Christian, never do that, go and be listening to FM what? I wasn't listening to Christian music. But that time I needed things to soften me up. So the first time in my life, I stayed there trying to sleep, listening to FM radio, just listening to music, just trying to create the atmosphere that would just break me down. And it worked. I slept. I finally slept. And when I woke up, it was enough power I was able to do my final exams, right? And I made a 2-1, right? I made a 2-1. I did well, right? But it came from allowing life to touch me, right? In being hardened up, I couldn't read. I couldn't be myself. I needed to be broken down. And it worked for me, right? And that's the way to live. You can't live your life all hardened up, carrying one strong face everywhere. Everybody, you don't want to talk to people. You want people to run away from you. And then you are the same one saying that you are lonely. Yeah, I don't have husband, I don't have wife. You have to attract people to you. People need to want to be with you. People need to enjoy your company if you're going to get the benefit that they bring, right? Let life touch you. Let life touch you, right? And so love comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes, right? You know, let life touch you. You know, don't be too hard. I want the black one. I want the short one, the distance. It's good to say what you want, but when love touches you, don't push love away. So I've seen short people marry tall people, thin people marry fat people, you know, smallies marry giants, both sexes, you know. But love comes in different ways. There's really no easy definition to love. In a sense, love catches us. We don't catch it. Somebody catches us. You know, some people say love is confusing. Yes, it is confusing, right? It hits you, it catches you, you know, but then you have to find your balance. That's the initial impression, initial hit. But for the longevity, you have to catch your balance, right? You allow love to captivate your heart, but then you have to bring your head to make sense of it all, because otherwise you make a mess of your life. But love will hit you. Somehow you are in love. You know, people that marry blind people didn't intend to marry a blind person or a deaf person. Somehow their heart, somehow something, two words collided and and merged into one, right? But for longevity, as much as your heart finds that, you have to bring your head to accept it. You know, you need both. Yes, your heart finds love. Your head is going to lead the life, right? So there is a place of balance. So love, you know, is not the form, it's not the shape, no, it's the size. Love is in the person, love is in the heart. The person you fall in love truly with is not that outside form, because that will change. It's not the boobs, it's not the yash, it's not the height, it's not the fineness, it's not the muscles, it's not the six-pack, it's a person. Six-pack might attract you, chest might attract you, the boobs might attract you, the backside might attract you. But who you're going to live with is none of that. It's the person. That might attract you, but fall in love with the person. Make sure you like the person if you want to have a long lasting relationship, right? So love is a powerful emotion that connects us to others and gives meaning to our life, right? It gives meaning to our life. It's a powerful emotion. It gives meaning to our life. As I try to close today's session, let's talk about love. We'll look about different forms of love. There are basically three types of love, right? Which are pretty much tied to the three parts of who we are. We're spirit, we have a soul, we live in a body. We're spirit, we have a soul, we live in a body. We're spirit, we have a soul, we live in a body. Each of those three have their ways of touching love, right? For the spirit is called agape love, right? It's a love that proceeds from your spirit or your God nature. It's the same way God loves us. God doesn't love you because of what you have or who you are or what you have. God loves you just because you're you. You're made in his likeness. So when I love somebody, just because that person is human, made in the likeness of God, that's called agape love. Agape love is a love I have for someone, not because of what I want from that person, but because of what I want to give to that person. I want to bless that person of my fullness without thinking of what I will get, not waiting for what I would get, right? It has nothing to do with who the person is. It has nothing to do with what the person has. I just love you because you're human. That is a God kind of love. And it comes from the deepest part of who we are, our God nature, right? And that's love we can have for any and everybody. And you should have it. If you don't have that love, you are dead. And you don't love God. It's the way we show we love God. You can't say you love God and you don't love the other human. The way we show we love God and we believe in God is the way we show love to other people, not for who they are, not for what they have, not for what we can get from them, but just because they are human beings, people made in the image and likeness of God. Is called agape love. The next kind of love we'll talk about is called the filial love. It's a love that comes from the exercising of our mind. This is not my spirit. It is the love because. I love you because. I don't love you just because you're human, right? I love you because you are tall, you are short, you are fine, you are not fine, you are boobs, you are biash, or whatever. I love you for a reason. That's filial love. It's a love that involves the engagement of my mind. I love you because you fit into the kind of person I want, the kind of person I want to work with. I love you because you are my child. I love you because you are my mother. I love you because we go to the same school. I love you because we come from the same village. That is filial love. It's a love that involves the engagement of my mind. The real word there is not really love, it's like. I like you. We use the word love freely, but the real word for filial is like you. I like you, right? I there's a lady I was chasing years ago, and it was my birthday, and someone asked her, you know, uh, we're trying to talk about what people talked about me, and she made a whole lot of effort to talk about that she likes me, not love me, you know. Well, she enjoyed my company, she got me confused, I'd asked her, you know, severally on the way forward, and always said no, but yet she enjoyed my company. She always said no, but always wanted me to be around, you know, just confusion. Anyways, but that's filial. Filial is I like you. I like you, right? Then the third one, which has to do with our flesh, our physical body, we call eros love. Eros love does not like you or love you because of what he wants to give to you. He likes you because of what he wants to get from you. It's all about what benefit can I get from you? That's eros for you, right? It's one that, agape and filial were in control. Eros, we are not in control. If you're ever in love with someone, they are not in control. Most probably it's eros. It's not agape for sure. It's not filial. It's eros. When you feel like you cannot sleep because of someone. Oh, I can't sleep. It's not agape. It's not filial. It's eros. It's one that has to do with your flesh. It's a lust. The real word is lust. All right. We said agape really is love. Filial is like. Eros is lost. You are lost in after that thing or person, right? Lost is the word. We call it love. I love him. I love him. I love you. Can I sleep with you? No, you don't love the person. You lost the person. You are infatuated by the person. You are infatuated by the benefit you think you can get from that person, right? So eros, infatuation, lost is the word. But now we can define every other relationship or every other kind of secondary love by any of these three, right? For you to be in marriage, to marry somebody, you need all three. You need people to love a person as a human person. You need to like the person. Let nobody deceive you. Better like the person you want to marry, or at least grow to like the person. Then the person better be steering your flesh. Otherwise, how are you going to have sex? You know? So you need a combination of all three to some quality, to go into marriage. And that's what we call romantic love, right? In romantic love, that's a combination of all three to some degree. You love the person because the person is human. You like the person You like the person, right? And your flesh is awake to the person. The best place for marriage is that you have romantic love for that person. And that is where we have the romanticism, right? It didn't used to be that you had all three, during the days of our fathers. In the days of our fathers, two were good enough. Families found wife for their children. So all you need is, oh, I love him because they're a person. I like him. I like him. Then eros, over time, you build that. But typically, if you're the one making your decision for yourself, you need all three. Don't go marry someone that doesn't stir you up. Otherwise, you'll be cheating. You'll be looking for someone else that will stir you up. You know, you need someone you love because the person is human. You like the person, and something inside of you is awake because of that person. But and that's romantic love, right?